Welcome to this quick demonstration of how to use Camtasia and how to record Camtasia style videos. Before you do the recording in the video, there's two things you need to decide. The first decision is, are you going to be doing a live software demonstration? For example, are you going to be showing people how to use LinkedIn, for example, how to use Twitter and Facebook or any of the AVN software, or are you going to be talking over a PowerPoint presentation? If you're going to do the latter and talk over a PowerPoint presentation, one of the things you need to be aware of is you need to try and keep the viewer engaged in the video, and therefore you need to have lots of change of PowerPoint slides and preferably images and a few things moving. If you have a 5-minute video talking around one single PowerPoint slide with just a handful of words on, the viewer will very quickly get bored and lose interest in the video. So try and keep something moving on the screen all the time. If, of course, you're demonstrating software or demonstrating, for example, LinkedIn, then it's much easier because you're always doing stuff and clicking on buttons and things, so the user is much more engaged in the video. The second thing you have to decide is, are you going to script your video and read from a script, or are you going to just talk live? I'm talking just live at the moment off the top of my head, knowing that it's very easy if I make a mistake to edit something out. So my suggestion would be to try it live and don't worry about mistakes too much. If you're not going to use a script and talk live like I am, then don't worry about making mistakes. It's incredibly simple to edit them out, and you just have to remember one real key tip. My advice would be to record it in one take. If you make a mistake, say the wrong words, stop, don't panic, and pause. It helps to pause and have a good 3 or 4 second pause. Just count 1, 2, 3, 4 in your head, count a few seconds, and then once you've composed yourself, go back to where you made the mistake and say that point again. There's a reason for the pause. It'll make it much easier from the editing point of view, because you'll be able to see where you made the mistakes. The alternative is, rather than a pause, you could make a loud noise like a clap, for example, and you'll see a little peak on the audio levels, which will tell you where you need to do the edit. But I personally prefer to make a pause if I've made a mistake, collect my thoughts, and then when I'm ready, start again. Also, when you make a mistake and start again, if, for example, you're on a PowerPoint slide, it's easier in the editing process if you start again from the start of the PowerPoint slide you were on, or the start of the paragraph, rather than just perhaps the start of that sentence again. Because if you've reeled out 2 or 3 sentences with very short gaps in between and one of them's wrong, it makes it quite hard to find the edit point. If you go back and re-record your voice from the start of the paragraph, from the start of the topic, the slide, then it's much easier from the editing point of view to see the whole chunk of stuff you need to take out. So there's my quick tips on recording. So decide whether it's PowerPoint or a live demonstration, decide whether you're going to be a script or not. If it's not a script, or even if it is a script, if you make mistakes, don't worry, just carry on recording and just stop and collect your thoughts. It's really easy to edit stuff out, which I'll show you in a second. So when you're ready to record, simply click the record the screen button. You could use record PowerPoint, but I think that needs a separate add-in on PowerPoint. So I always do the click the record screen. And when you do that, you'll see a little control bar. The control bar will look like this. You'll need to set up a number of options. The first thing you decide is, are you going to do full screen or custom screen? If you're doing a software demonstration, then it's very likely you'll just simply click the full screen and it will record everything on the screen. However, if you're recording, for example, a PowerPoint presentation, when you run the PowerPoint will run in a slightly smaller area, so you'll need to set the dimensions. Now you can do that in one of two ways. You can either set the dimensions perhaps by putting them in here, for example, or you can manually select them by clicking on this button here, and you can set it on the screen with your mouse button. If you click on the drop down arrow, then you'll get something that looks like this. It'll show you all your recent settings. If you're doing PowerPoint, I found that having a setting of 1024 by 768 is the size of the PowerPoint presentation. So I always use that as my settings for PowerPoint. The next thing to think about, and it doesn't matter too much if you forget this, but in the effects, you'll see from the drop down effects menu, you'll have cursor. You'll need to decide whether you want to show or hide the cursor. If you're doing a software demonstration or a demonstration of LinkedIn, for example, you'll want to show the cursor because it'll be much easier for the viewer to see where your mouse is moving. If on the other hand you're doing a PowerPoint presentation, you don't want to see the cursor moving around the screen. That'll be off-putting. So click the hide cursor button and the Camtasia won't pick up and won't record the cursor movements. The next thing is to decide, ignore the camera option. The camera option is if you want to use webcam, so forget that. So the only other thing to set, once you've selected the screen and decided whether you're going to have the cursor on or not, then just simply check the audio levels, and if you use the drop-down box, make sure it's selected your particular microphone. So in my case, I'm using a Blue Snowball, which is a really good, powerful USB microphone. Make sure it's got the right setting, the right one. And you'll also see it's hidden now behind this menu option, but you'll also see a little bar that will go up and down as you talk. So do a quick test, check the volume levels are okay. You don't want too much red because that's too loud. You want to have somewhere around about the middle. What I'd also do is I would then record about a 5 or 10 second test and just check it's picked up, and then watch it back and check it's picked up the audio okay. You don't want to go and record a 5-10 minute Camtasia and realise you've not got the audio levels right, or it's making some horrible buzzing noises. So do a quick test first. And that's it. When you're ready, you click the record button and it will count down 3 seconds. Don't panic, because the editing's so simple. Click the record button. Once it gets down to from 3 down to 0, then what you'll want to do is you want to get rid of this, and you'll want to, if it's a PowerPoint for example, you'll want to then set your PowerPoint presentation up and running. Don't panic, go and get all that ready, get your screen ready, and then start talking when you're ready. You can edit out the messing around at the start, and I'll give you an example of that in the editing stage. And when you've finished the recording, simply press the F10 key on your keyboard, and F10 will stop the recording.